Now on your news at 5. Oh my God, this is loud.
So I don't know, maybe I'm a little bummed we're not going to get hammered with this snowstorm.
No, we get a nice weekend.
It's nice. I'm going to enjoy it, but don't you kind of want one more of these things? Like,
I feel like you're teasing it up for something.
Is it going to happen, John?
Oh, I assume.
Is it happening soon, John?
I assume.
Oh.
I mean,
okay.
I think just being 10 to 15 degrees below average in March, which is what we're expecting over the next 2 weeks, it just takes one big one. I'm going to just say it's probably next weekend. We'll see.
We'll see if he has more to say on that at 5. 27 News at 5 starts right now.
Now on your news at 5, ice safety. After 2 people fell through the ice in Fort Atkinson this week and survived, one local expert says why he sees this over and over again and offers safety advice. And the WIAA State Hockey Championship is underway, and more visitors means more business. We've got you covered on the impact it has for those business owners. And the verdict is in, the crucial piece of evidence that the judge used to sentence convicted killer Alec Murdoch to life in prison.
We've got you covered. This is 27 News at 5, voted Best Evening Newscast.
Good evening and thank you for joining us. I'm Sarah Massler-Donar. As temperatures warm up, ice is becoming less safe. 2 people learned that the hard way last night in Fort Atkinson. They fell through the water on Lake Koshkonong. One person got out on their own. First responders pulled out the other one. They're okay, and local experts say this does highlight the importance of ice safety. Rachel Perry has you covered on why one man has devoted hours to educating people on ice conditions.
In the last several years, Jim Furley tells me he's seen incidents like Thursday nights happen over and over again. The exact reason why he spends hours teaching people about ice safety. Furley has lived in the area for most his life, at one point just down the road from Lake Koshkonong. He felt he needed to do something after watching news reports of people being rescued and even dying after falling through the ice. Every year when winter rolls around, you'll notice his Facebook page flooded with posts all about ice.
In the wintertime, I try to every week get out here and physically measure the ice and put a report on what I see. I don't want to do reports from sitting in a lazy boy chair in my living room. I think a person physically needs to be out on the ice to give a report.
In his trunk, Furley keeps items like an ice pick, rope, and flotation device, all meant to both protect someone from falling through and help if they do. Tonight at 6, Furley remembers a tragic incident that inspired this initiative. But for now, reporting in Jefferson County, Rachel Perry, 27 News.
Public school students in Madison learned today how they'll catch up on learning time they lost during a few recent snow days. District officials say on Mondays from April 3rd to June 5th, there will be an additional hour of asynchronous learning for students in kindergarten through 12th grade. On April 10th, all K through 12 students will have a full day of asynchronous learning. Heading outside now, we're missing that big snow event for the front half of the weekend, but there may be more active weather on the way. 27 Storm Track Chief Meteorologist John Ziegler is tracking out the weekend ahead.
Yeah, I mean, it's quiet. If you didn't want the snowstorm, it's about as good as the weather was going to be today. 38 degrees. I mean, I think about it 3 days ago. I was thinking at least a few inches here. And we got nothing. Probably the first time this year it's trended out, which usually happens a few times. And that's why we've been above average for snow. 38 degrees, north winds at 10. So it's not the warmest day today, a very seasonal day in the middle to upper 30s. 43 as you get away from that low in La Crosse, so temperatures are actually warmer to the northwest. And the winds they're out there today, 5 to 15 miles per hour. There's that big low pressure center. You can see it right now spinning. There's tornado warnings on the ground near Cincinnati. You've got 6 to 10 inches of snow falling in Michigan, and you can see there is that tornado warning. High wind warning is down to our south. Wind or storm warnings just off to our east. Pretty crazy how the active weather is. We're just going to be partly cloudy with lows tonight at 25. So it's March. We're going to have to see about 4 or 5 of these lows come by this month. Will one of us hit us? That's what we're going to be talking about in your forecast.
Okay, we'll see you then. Thanks, John. The Oregon swim instructor charged with sexually assaulting 2 children is now facing a 3rd charge. 69-year-old James Miker is facing these charges right now in connection with alleged incidents last July. Authorities say he inappropriately touched and groped 2 children during class. If convicted, he faces up to $100,000 in fines and 40 years in prison. A car that was stolen in East Madison was found today in Mazomaney. The theft happened exactly 1 month ago on East Buckeye Road. A man was warming up his car when he says he was pulled out and thrown in the snow. The suspect stole the SUV and drove away. The investigation led officers to Mazomaney, where they recovered the car this morning. So far, no one has been arrested. Fire department crews responded to a gas leak in Madison's west side. A car hit an apartment building on Britta Drive around 8 o'clock last night. A gas line and 4 natural gas meters were severely damaged. With the help of MGE, crews shut down the gas valve and stopped it from leaking. No one was hurt and no gas or carbon monoxide was found. It's day 2 of the state hockey tournament. Within the last couple of hours, the Verona boys team took on Hudson in the Division I semifinals. Verona punched its ticket to the championship game with a 4-3 win in overtime. And as players and fans make their way to Bob Suiter's Capitol Ice Arena for the hockey tournament, local bars and restaurants are preparing for the post-game celebrations. Grace Hodak has you covered on how each year is different for businesses, but the impact continues to grow.
It's quiet and calm for now at the Nitty Gritty. But Michael Leto, food and beverage director, says it won't be long till people at the WIAA hockey tournament fill these seats for their post-game celebrations.
We've definitely seen some people yesterday with some of the first state semifinals happening, some groups coming in. Expecting to see more of that today. Looking forward to inviting some people in to, dine, have lunch, hopefully celebrate a victory.
Leto has worked at the Nitty Gritty for 18 years. He says from state hockey to basketball to wrestling, he has seen it all, and each time is different from the last.
The Nitty Gritty definitely is a jovial place with people coming in to celebrate their birthdays, but it's a different kind of environment when you get people from all around the state that are coming in to support some of their friends and family that are playing in some of these tournaments.
The boys and girls hockey tournament is just one of the 15 championships hosted in Dane County. Destination Madison says the economic impact to the city from this weekend alone tops $1 million.
And it's wonderful to have events here in February and March because that's traditionally a slower tourism time. So for them to come in and enjoy our restaurants and fill up our hotels, it's really great.
Breaking the ice to what will become a busy season.
I think there's a feeling here that we are just a sports city. We embrace sports. And I think that's the excitement around these tournaments when they come in.
And just providing a place where people can come together with big groups and just kind of, have a good time and celebrate what they're in town for.
Ellie Westman-Shin from Destination Madison says when you look at all the championships hosted year-round, the impact tops $20 million. She also says more than 200,000 people come to town for these competitions.
Okay, Grace, thank you. We'll have highlights from today's semifinal games tonight on 27 News at 6. Those games set the field for Saturday's state finals. You'll be able to see all of those championship games right here on WKOW starting at 9:30 a.m. They're also streaming on the Magic of March app, which is free to download. And while you're getting apps, make sure you get the 27 News Now app. It's the best way to get local breaking news right on your cell phone. Coming up, how one piece of video was critical in sentencing disgraced former lawyer Alec Murdaugh to lifetime in prison. Plus, put down those screens for a little bit today. It's the Global Day of Unplugging. How wellness experts say you can spend the day reconnecting with the real world. And the state of technology ethics. A UW-Madison professor explains how we can navigate this new world. Today is the Global Day of Unplugging. It's a reminder to put down our phones and start prioritizing in-person relationships with our family, friends, and the world around us. A wellness education specialist with Gunderson Health Systems says we should think about how we can best spend time off the screen and make the most of that benefit.
Also important to find what works best for you when you are unplugging. So thinking about, okay, am I going to take time to read a book? Am I going to go for a walk? Trying to cook something new, bake something new, anything like that. There's so many options.
Research shows the average family is connected to 5 devices. Experts say disconnecting for just a few minutes, hours, or even a little longer can help us improve our social connections and check in on each other's well-being. And staying on the theme of technology, let's talk about artificial intelligence. Many agree we should have safe uses, but what does it mean for AI to be used safely and ethically? Well, artificial intelligence has been in the spotlight recently. Many are raising concerns related to creative agency, copyright licenses, even whether it should be used for homework. A UW-Madison professor says it's important that our sources for AI coding match with our current culture.
Previous chatbots that were trained on data from the news of past history would internalize different concepts like, misogyny and structural racism that we might not want, right, in current systems given our understanding of the times.
Now, Professor Mins says it's important for coders to make commitments about questioning and documenting the sources used in programming. Coming up, a shocking look into explosive materials found in a Pennsylvania-bound flight suitcase and what he claims he was planning to do with them.
And we are tracking a mess in the Midwest right now. From tornado warnings to winter storm warnings, we've got nothing. When can we expect a storm, though? Your forecast coming up.
The memorial service for the former UW-Madison Chancellor Rebecca Blank is tomorrow. Blank died in February after a 7-month battle with cancer. The service starts at 2 p.m. at the First Congregational United Church of Christ on University Avenue. There will be a live stream in the Marquee Theater in Union South. After the service, her family will hold a reception at Varsity Hall. Anyone is welcome to attend.
I sentence you to prison for murdering him for the rest of your natural life. Those sentences will run consecutive.
The verdict is in. Disgraced former South Carolina attorney Alec Murdaugh will spend the rest of his life in prison for the murders of his wife and 22-year-old son. The sentence is without the possibility of parole after a jury convicted him last night. During today's sentencing hearing, Murdaugh proclaimed his innocence.
Judge, I tell you again, I respect this court, but I'm innocent. I would never, under any circumstances, hurt my wife, Maggie, and I would never, under any circumstances, hurt my son, Pawpaw.
Murdaugh claimed he found the bodies of his wife and son after returning from a brief visit to his sick mother that night. Yet a video clip recorded by his son Paul placed Murdaugh at the murder site shortly before the killings. One juror said the evidence was clear.
Everybody was pretty much talking, and about 45 minutes later, after all our deliberating, we figured it out.
There are other mysterious deaths linked to the Murdaugh family. The state says the investigation into the death of their housekeeper in 2018 has been reopened. We're learning more about the case of a Pennsylvania man who is accused of trying to bring an explosive on an airplane. We're getting a look at what TSA found in his luggage and why he was bringing it. This is the device in Mark Muffley's suitcase. It's a circular compound with 2 fuses and x-rays that showed a powder that's up to standards of a commercial grade firework. There was also a can of butane, a lighter, and lithium-ion batteries. Muffley's attorney claims he only wanted to set off fireworks on a Florida beach. Muffley is facing up to 15 years in prison if convicted.
Now, 27 Storm Track weather with Chief Meteorologist John Ziegler.
Well, if you go outside right now, it's a cloudy day, a seasonal March day here, but you wouldn't know there's this big system about 150 miles just to our south, and once you get to the south, you're in it. 50, 60 mile an hour winds sustained, semi-trucks all over the place, flipped over. That's the scene across Illinois, Kentucky, Indiana, and here we are, 38 degrees outside. We got that cloud cover. Says there's peaks of sun. I haven't really seen much of that today. The average high is about 37, 38 degrees depending on where you're at. 43 as you get away from this, you'll see the winds are lighter as you actually go off to the west, and this is where it's warmer. So this is going to be our day tomorrow. We got 40s in Prairie du Chien and La Crosse. The northeast winds from this low down to our southeast, pretty strong, keeping us at least in the 30s today. Technically a seasonal day. It doesn't feel that cold. Winds right now, they've already started to come down. We've seen them up to 25, 30. Now it's more 10 to 15. Again, they're stronger from Madison over to Milwaukee. And you notice it's lighter. So tomorrow, as we get away from this low, the winds are going to lighten up. There it is, big low. You can't necessarily see all the impacts on just radar. But there's your snow belt. This is what I was concerned with. You've got thunder snow going on in here, down in Gary, Indiana, South Bend, just north of Detroit. And there we are, just very close to it, very little impacts. And the winds here are at 15. You go to south side of Chicago and they're at 40. I mean, that is just wild. And I'm not talking about thunderstorm winds. There's a lot going on. You got winter storm warnings, you got flood warnings in the green all over the place. If you look at we even have severe thunderstorm warnings too. And then if you look at this kind of darker orange or yellow, that's a high wind warning. Those are winds over 50 without thunderstorms. So this is a very strong low that we just dodged. High pressure coming in here for Saturday. A couple sprinkles possible. Even Sunday's mainly dry, but this next low gives us mix and rain. I think it's more rain mix than snow, and that is likely from 9 p.m. Sunday through the morning Monday. Saturday's pretty quiet through the day. Enjoy it. Sprinkles will pass by, or maybe a shower from around 4 to 7. It'll go west to east. And then as we go into Sunday morning, another quiet day, a lot of cloud cover. The rain doesn't really come in until 10 o'clock. I know it could start as snow, but the warmth will lift, and then we could get a couple thunderstorms sneaking in here. So if you're sleeping Monday morning, it's going to be pouring, and you'll probably pick up some lightning strikes with these. I don't have severe threats, but thunderstorms. How much precip? A little less for Madison South, maybe half an inch. More as you go to the north, and they could see some slushy snow in Camp Douglas or Montello, maybe an inch or so, but you could see the impacts. Northern Wisconsin takes this one. So Monday, we're just talking about a mix. Rhinelander area over towards Eau Claire, they will be talking about snow, and they'll need the plows out again. Remember, northern Wisconsin this time of the year, different world. This is, I lived in Duluth. It is straight winter until middle of April. We don't make jokes about 40s until it's like May up there. So we get 50 on Monday. We could have a little mix possible. And I am chairless over here, so we'll do the fake chair today. But we'll cool down into Friday.
Noticed.
That's my bad. So 31, nobody will notice. 31
You're supposed to be the floor crew between the 4 and the 5.
31 on Friday. We'll watch a chance for snow next Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
Can't even tell. Looks great. How's the quads going? Your little workout,
can we go to
leg
break?
workout. Yep. All right, here we go. You can stand up now.
Okay.
The Wisconsin Supreme Court race is heating up with the two candidates taking aim at each other. Daniel Kelly has taken exception to how open Janet Protasewicz has been about expressing her personal views about issues that could come before the court, such as abortion and redistricting.
Do you believe your opponent has crossed an ethical line during this campaign?
Well, I don't want to comment on that specifically, because should the people of Wisconsin return me to the court, it may be that we'll have to review a complaint alleging ethical violations. What I can say is that this is entirely, egregiously inappropriate for a jurist to do.
You'll be able to watch that entire interview with Daniel Kelly this week on Capital Cindy Sunday at 9 a.m. While still ahead, do you ever wish you could just find out what your dog was thinking? Well, now you can, thanks to a class at UW Eau Claire, how it can help students better connect with their furry friends. Madison College is entering a new partnership to bring entrepreneurship and small business courses to Africa. This morning, the school held a signing ceremony with YAM Education, which was founded by Madison College alum Osman Cabre. YAM is intentionally designed as an online platform with offline capabilities that can work in remote and low connectivity areas around the world. They will now be able to offer Madison College curricula all the way to Burkina Faso. YAM even means intelligence in one of the official languages of the country. Well, do you ever wonder what your dog is thinking? Well, students at one University of Wisconsin campus can now take a class that helps them understand just that. More than 20 UW Eau Claire students are getting the chance to work with man's best friend. One of the goals of this class, which is called Animal Behavior, is to see how dogs process information. The professor of the class says dogs have a lot more to offer than we think.
A lot of dogs that have a high pack drive or prey drive or are working dogs, they'll often look at an owner and then go directly to solve that task. And it turns out that those dogs are better than chimpanzees at recognizing how well humans communicate to each other.
Like when your dog goes to the bathroom inside and all you do is look at them and they know they're in trouble. The students can use these insights to better work with service dogs and connect with pets. It's the first year the class has been offered. A hedgehog is coming to Henry Vilas Zoo in Dane County, the initiative that helped it find its new home. Coming up tonight, right after World News, Tony Galley has you covered on new information on a car involved in a deadly hit and run.
It's been 2 weeks since a 66-year-old man and his beloved dog were in a crosswalk here on Schrader Road and were killed by a hit-and-run driver. And there's been understandable discussion of safety. Hello, I'm Tony Galley. There's also been a desperate search for a 2011 blue Chevy Malibu. And tonight in 27 News at 6, we track the history of that car in the weeks leading up to this tragic incident.
And finally at 5, Henry Vilas Zoo is welcoming a new addition. It's an African pygmy hedgehog. They were given at one of JNR's aquatic animal rescue events. JNR takes in exotic pets that people no longer care for and then sends them to zoos and sanctuaries that adopt them. Their next event is March 25th at the Aldo Leopold Nature Center in Madison. You can learn more about JNR Aquatic Animal Rescue at WKOW.com.
Cool.
Yeah.